Yo, what's good? The story I'm going to tell you today, I am not the most proud of, but it is 100% true. And the reason why I'm telling you this story is because my favorite uncle passed away about 4 days ago. And I'm very appreciative of his death. I cried for first few minutes upon finding out. And then I began to have a different perspective of his life. And I have my older brother to thank because he told a joke that broke me out of the state that I was in. My uncle was a homeless alcoholic and he was homeless for 10 years. However, he has had such a positive impact in my life. And I was very fascinated as to why I felt extremely grateful for the passing of my uncle because a lot of people around me were very sad, understandably. This person was very loved, but I couldn't help but feel grateful because of the perspective that his death brought me. And it was the fact that even though he was homeless and an alcoholic, he still left such a positive impact in those around him. Nobody's crying over him not having a career or making X amount of money. They're crying, myself included, when I did cry, is the impact that this man had on us in our life emotionally. He was very loved, very loved. And that started to make me think like, whoa, at the end of my life, it doesn't really matter what it is I did for a career. What matters is what kind of impact did I have on people? And that shifted my focus from being centered with myself to I've been thinking a lot more about how can I have a bigger impact in people's lives. So you can see why I'm very grateful for that. And I thought about, well, what made Uncle Jody so impactful? I think about my dad too. My dad's still alive, but my dad has also had a massive impact in my life. Although he is an imperfect person and put the family through a lot with domestic violence and trauma when it comes to yelling and screaming, he still has left a tremendously positive impact in my life. And I thought about what were the characteristics that these two people possess that caused them to have a positive influence in my life. And a big part of that was I knew who it is that they are. I know who they are. Their flaws are very obvious. The flaws of my uncle, the flaws of my father, very obvious. However, it's interesting that despite how obvious these flaws are, I'm still impacted positively from it. It's helped me out in my life because there's wisdom of what they taught me what to do, and there's also wisdom that they taught me not to do. But they didn't necessarily teach me what not to do through saying it, they taught me what not to do by the actions that they took. So, the story that I'm going to tell you today is a very raw story. I'm going to do the best that I can to not try to paint a narrative and instead focus on truthful storytelling so you can be able to see my flaws and take what it is as you will from both the wisdom and me being an imperfect person so you can course correct on your own in a way that you see fit for your own life. So, last week on Sunday, today is Saturday, I was at work and there is a woman who just like really just threw herself at me, which I appreciated tremendously. It doesn't happen all the time. It's been a couple years since a woman has thrown herself at me and was very open, honest, and forthright. She had said that, so at the restaurant that I work at, there is this like back door that sometimes when you open it, it makes a loud ass creaking noise. So sometimes there'll be guests that'll be sitting by that door, and I always give them a warning that I'm about to open the door because I don't want to startle them. So I'm about to open the door, and this girl is right next to the door, and I tell her that sometimes this door makes a loud noise. When I open it, I'm just giving you a heads up so you don't get startled. And she said, "Oh my gosh, you are such a gentleman, and you are also so hot and sexy." And she said, "I would do you in a heartbeat if I could." And I was like, holy shit, I wasn't expecting that. That's dope as fuck. So I said, we can make that happen. And I said yes for the experience, you know? And so we try to link up that night and it doesn't fall through. The next day, I'm in my backyard and I'm having a conversation with myself as I do. I love going outside around midnight and processing my day out loud. You are actually getting a glimpse of what that looks like right now on camera. I usually just do it by myself outside, but you actually get to see me process this and make sense of this because, again, the story I'm telling you, I'm giving you backstory about a story that happened today. So I was in my backyard and I'm talking to myself, and the plans didn't go through, and I don't have any plans to text her. I was like, I'm not gonna chase right now where I'm at in my life. I'm not looking for a woman. I'm not looking for a romantic partner. I am very focused on what is it that I'm doing, and I feel that I am really comfortable in the energy that I'm in. I am having the most creative time in my life right now. It's very awesome, and I didn't even realize that till today. Like I am probably at the most creative that I've ever been actually. And whoa, like that sounds crazy for me to say. I've been feeling it, but like today I came to that realization. I've been doing a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations, and I'm putting my focus towards the future I want to create. And with that, what happens is I'm tuning into the frequency of that future, and that future resonates with me so hard. And the thing is, like, that frequency is so heavily contrasted by all the frequency that is not for me. And I feel the frequency and I recognize the frequency, and it is pretty disappointing that like 95% of the other frequency that I'm around when it comes to like people is just not a match. It's not a match whatsoever. So I started thinking to myself, I'm like, dating does not feel worth it for me at this time of my life, because I feel that the frequency in which I'm operating at is not a frequency that most people are on. And the thought of me going up and talking to a woman, and then I have to plan the date, and then I pay for the date, and then, like, I guess I'm like hoping for sex, but I'm thinking about, like, is that even worth it? Is the conversation that I'm going to have over the date, is that going to be worth it in general? Let's take the sex out the picture. Do I feel like I got a return on my energy from this meetup? And to me, thinking that I'm going to find somebody randomly on the street or as I live my days or online and I put all this effort, for me to just come across this person by chance seems like a long shot. So I'm like, it doesn't make sense for me to really invest my energy into women whatsoever. And I had the thought in my head. I said, if it's just about sex that I want from a woman right now, or would want from a woman right now, then it would be better for me to, instead of trying to find a woman and then like texting, how does that work? Like, do I text you leading up to the date? Like, do you want to text afterwards? Like, and then the energy of, I'm probably most likely not even gonna like this girl, and there's a chance she might like me, and there's so much, right? And I'm coming up with all this. There's so much energy that's going into this. I'm like, if it's just about the sex, then it would be more beneficial for me to just pay for it. Again, I'm not the most proud of this story, but I'm telling you honestly, and I've done it before. There's like some brothels down in Mexico, which are, it's like 2 hours away from me. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like I can just go down there, just pay for it, and like we're good. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go this week. So I texted my homie. I said, yo, I'm gonna go down uh, to Mexico this week if you want to go with me. And he's like, I can go on this day. And I'm like, okay, fuck it, we'll go for this day. And for Saturday. Now, that's today. Yesterday, I was in bed before I was going to sleep, and I was really high. I like to do a long meditation, and then I'll take like 2 puffs of weed. I find that it helps me really dance with my subconscious on paper really well. And unfortunately, I smoked more than I would have liked to. So I was like having a fucking like panic attack in bed, but not just that, I was able to really be able to process some things, like really be able to process a few things. And one thing that I came to realization of last night was, I don't want to go to Mexico today. And I was like, I should cancel on my friend. Like, I don't want to go. It's going to be a lot of money. And then I'm going to have to drive. And then that's a long day. And then but I didn't text him. When I woke up in the morning, I saw I had a missed call from him. And then it was like, yo, let's meet up at 1. And I was like, fuck it. And I was staying over a friend's house. So I had to drive an hour home. And then I had a little bit of time. I got a new journal today. I made a quick little video about using your opposite hand to journal. which, by the way, the reason why I'm even making this video right now is because I was journaling with my opposite hand. I bought a notebook specifically for um, opposite hand journaling because when you journal with your other hand, you tap into the other side, the other hemisphere of your brain that you're not used to activating through the act of writing. And I just feel like there's so much creative space and domain that I have yet to explore that I feel like is going to really take me to the next level. So I'm really excited to journal with my opposite hand to unlock more thoughts that maybe I'm not used to thinking in a certain way. And I'm having to be more conscious because I am not used to writing with this hand. So it's not like I can just turn my brain off. Like I have to be very aware and I have to be very present. That's what I noticed. I had to be very present. And it came to I came to the realization like in order for me to really be able to have more of an impact, like I should tell the story right now. I got that from journaling with my opposite hand. Because with my dominant hand, when I was journaling before that, I was really upset about what happened today, which we're getting back to right now. So my friend pulls up to the crib and it takes us like 2 hours and like 20 minutes to get to Mexico. It takes a long ass time. And on the way to Mexico, the conversation in the car, it was whatever. This isn't someone who I match with, we're not on the same frequency. And I was like, well, they got some really great shrimp tacos in fucking Mexico. I'm like, I want to go at least for the fucking tacos. Like, those tacos are unbelievable. So he gets to my crib and, like, I pull out some money out of the bank. So I have like $200 in my pocket and take the long ass journey to get there. And keep in mind, like, it's in the daytime. It was like 5 p.m. And I've never been out there during the daytime. It felt so weird. I was like, oh, dude, like, this is like really strange. This looks like a completely different place. So we head into the main brothel, and it's called Hong Kong. I feel so vulnerable as I share this story, but I'm doing it for the sake of making a positive impact. When I show who it is that I am and my flaws, you can learn from it. I'm just reminding myself. So we go in and it's like not as like packed with women as it was in our previous times being there. I think it was because it was kind of still early in the night, whatever. And so we take a lap around and we don't see anybody that we like. So he's like, hey, let's go to another place, right? So we leave and we go to a club called Chicago. And we get there, and literally within 1 minute, we're like, let's bounce. So we bounced and we went to a different uh, brothel. And we were in there for like 2 minutes. When I walked in, I saw this girl who was bad as fuck. I was like, damn, she's cute as shit, nigga. And she was looking at me as well. It's her profession. In a way, was like, we locked eyes with each other. And my friend was like, all right, hey, like, let's bounce. So on my way out, I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna choose this girl. So we start hugging, and I don't know much Spanish, but I ask her in Spanish, like, how much? I say cuánto. And she says, cien, which means 100. And I was like, okay, sounds good. Like, let's do it. So we leave the building and we go next door to this hotel, and we go up and there's like a guy with like a metal detector. So I have to put my stuff in a little plastic thing And I walked through the metal detector, and then he like passed me down as well. And then I get my stuff. We go up to a counter for the room. It's $40. So I pay them $40. They give me a condom and some lube, and they tell us what room we're going to be in. So we go into this room. It's a small room, just has a bed, a bathroom, and a shower and a sink. And the bed takes up maybe like 70-80% of the space in the room. And she like turns off the lights where it's like there's only like this like red ambiance on the outskirts, and it's like really sexy. And I don't know Spanish. She speaks purely Spanish. So I am doing my best to like talk to her and like have conversation, but she's saying a lot of stuff that I don't understand, and I have to say certain things in English, and it was whatever. But she was fucking hot as shit. And then we started having sex, and I was like, I have her like in doggy style, and I'm like, this is cool, but it's not like out of this world. Oh my gosh, this is so incredible. I'm so glad I'm doing this. I'm so glad I made this decision. It was just like, okay, like I'm feeling like pleasure. It's cool. Like she's hot, but it's still just something kind of missing there. And then we finish up, and I hop in the shower, and then she hops in the shower. And while she's in the shower, I just think to myself like, this trip wasn't worth it. It's like I would much had rather been at home journaling. I'm writing my second book right now, and there's a story that I really want to finish that I started yesterday. That's a really great story. It's a really great story. And I just spent 2.5 hours in traffic, and now like I did this, and now I have to pay this girl like $100. I already paid 40 for this fucking room. And I'm like, damn, bro, like I would much rather be at home being creative right now. And that's when like the quote popped into my mind, like impact over pleasure. Like impact over pleasure, bro. So, you know, we say our goodbyes, and then when I go back to the main club, Hong Kong, my friend, he's with a girl, and I'm just like kind of waiting for him. And at the same time, I'm just thinking like, there's these girls all around the environment, and they're going to stripper poles, and there's so much, and I'm just like, dude, this wasn't worth it. Like, this was not worth it. Fuck. I don't want to be here right now. So I text my friend, like, hey, I'm at the bar, I'm at the club. And he responds to me either 30 or 40 minutes later and is like, hey, I'm just wrapping up right now. I'll be there in just a sec. So he comes to me. I'm like, hey, let's go get some tacos. And he's like, he says, how was your experience? I'm like, it was cool, man. I'm like, how about yours? He's like, bro, while I was having sex with her, she took off the condom and said to go raw. So I did. I was like, what? I was like, you did what, bro? You just went raw on a strip on a girl who works at a brothel in Mexico? What? And then he tells me that he cream pied her. That's unbelievable. It's like, what? What did you do? He tells me that she's 18 years old, and that he thinks that she was a little pregnant already. And I was like, what? And he told me some more stuff, but it gets graphic, as if it hasn't already been graphic. But I couldn't believe it. And I was saying, dude, that story just makes the whole trip worth it. And I felt that genuinely at that moment. So we finished eating and we're like, all right, like, let's bounce. And I was like, okay, let me use the bathroom first. So we go back into the main club, Hong Kong, and I use the bathroom. He's like, fuck it, let's just stay for another hour. I was like, oh, okay, we'll stay another hour, and then we'll bounce. And I was like, okay, I guess so. Like, this is adventurous. This is funny. Maybe like this is supposed to be just like an adventure, and maybe I'm just like maybe too in my head, and maybe something epic will like come out of this. And we're sitting in this booth and just watching these women one by one, hit the stage, and women coming up to us and talking to us, and then women making eye contact from across the club. And just the whole time, I'm just um, I'm getting turned on, but I just feel like this isn't worth it. I just would have much rather been at home with my journal in my hand. So we leave like an hour and a half later, and we're in Tijuana, which isn't too far from the border. Dude, we were at the fucking border for an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. I'm not sure. I didn't keep track too much of the time. But to get back into the US, it took fucking forever, for sure, at the very least, an hour. And I was so annoyed because my friend had such a great time. And I'm just like, I'm about to get home at like 11 p.m. I have work in the morning. I am very upset. I'm very upset. I don't want to sacrifice anything for my creative space. My creative space means everything. I gotta do it like every day because it's just so good for my soul. It feels so good. And I know the moment I skip a day, it gets harder the next day and like that streak is lost. So I do my best just to stay consistent. I've been doing these meditations every day, Dr. Joe Dispenza. When I got home, I ate and I tried to do a Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation and I did it for like 5 minutes and I was just too pissed. I was just too mad. I was like, dude, I'm so fucking upset with what happened today. Like I got a journal. So I pull out my journal and I write for a little bit. And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to break out my other journal and I'm going to start writing with my opposite hand. And that's what led me to this video. Just asking myself questions and answering them. And the lesson that I wanted to deliver in this really is your body knows what's correct. And sometimes we feel afraid to speak up about what our needs are and where we are in fear of disappointing another person. And I did not stick by how I felt inside today. I went against myself. And I think coming to that realization, as I just said that right now, is very hurtful for myself because I do my best not to betray myself. And I feel that I did that today. I think that's what it all boils down to is the self betrayal. And I feel that there's a cost to that. There's a cost of self esteem and there's a disappointment in myself. But there's also a lot of good that came from this. like realizing that it's the truth. I'm not at a stage in my life where I'm really looking to let women inside of my life, or not just women, but just people in general, men, anything, everything in between, and everything outside of that. I am not necessarily looking for new friends. I am barely even looking to hang out with the friends that I already have. I love the creative space that I'm in, and I want to give so much more to my creativity because I feel like I have so much to give. And at the end of the day, my father and my uncle Jody had an impact on me because they impact me emotionally. Very impactful. And while I was at the brothel today, I thought to myself, is that what I'm meant to do as well? Is the impact that I'm meant to have just an emotional impact? Am I meant to impact people the way that Uncle Jody impacted me? And that was crazy. You can see why it is I feel grateful for his death because it's like his life has given me so much perspective on my own life. And I see a lot of myself in my Uncle Jody. And as I mentioned, I learned a lot about what to do from him and also what not to do because I see myself so much in Uncle Jody and I saw alcohol and other substances like really take over his life. It makes it clear that with my personality and who I am, I can be, I can end up the same motherfucking way. But he left me feeling a certain type of way always, joy or just annoyance, whatever it was. He he made me feel strong emotions, and I'm really good at that. I have a book called A Real Nigga Bible that elicits very strong emotions. That's not something that was strategically planned, by the way. I wrote it and it just ended up becoming a book. I did it to just make my coworkers laugh, and it wasn't my intention to be a published author from it, but just naturally who it is I am. I'm a very emotionally impactful person. You can tell by the story that I just told you. It's very emotionally impactful. And I want to spend more time seeing how I can help you out the best that I can. Because another way that my father and my Uncle Jody have impacted my life is that they were in my life consistently. So if I can be in your life more consistently, showing you my flaws, teaching you what I've learned, being an example for you to learn what to do and what not to do, then I'm doing my job in terms of having an emotional impact. And I want to do that as much as I can because I'm so grateful for the emotional impact my Uncle Jody left on me. It's such a powerful feeling that I want to give that to others. It's such a beautiful feeling. I cried initially because I was like, bro, I'm never going to experience his energy again. Like, his energy is so unique and it was so fun and joyful. And it's like, wait a second, that's not true. Because he was so emotionally impactful, Whenever I think of him, I feel his energy. His energy is always with me. Think about how potent somebody has to be to where the memory of them has, like, their energy is lodged within your nervous system. And I know I have the power to do that for other people as well. And you may disagree with certain things and you may agree with others, but that's okay because it's not my goal to present myself as a perfect human being, nor am I going to shy away from that because I know you can be impacted equally with seeing the good and the bad. It might take away this hero factor that some people might see, when the curtain is unveiled and you see that, oh wow, the person who I saw as a guru was human all along. But that's okay, because I also want you to relate to me. I want you to see yourself in me. I consider myself a winner. I've accomplished the biggest goals I've ever set in my life. I did more than that. And I feel that I have the power and the wisdom and the stories and the storytelling ability and the charisma to help people who haven't done the biggest thing that they have set themselves to do, but know that they are capable of more and they know that it's possible for them to do big things. I want to help those people out along the way because I got that help along the way. I had many mentors in my life. If you know anything about me, my previous business was literally helping young entrepreneurs under 30 find 7, 8, and 9 figure successful mentors because I had done it so well and I did it so consistently. I had the system that I was doing that I didn't even realize that I was doing, but I was able to connect with so many successful people, and so many successful people gave me their time and they gave me their energy and they gave me their resources. They opened doors for me. They gave me knowledge. They gave me education. They gave me insight. They gave me connections. They gave me faith. They gave me belief. And I wouldn't be anywhere close to the man I am today, someone who I am really proud about when I look at myself in the mirror, without the giants that come before me who are 20, 30 years ahead of me. Now, I wouldn't consider myself 20, 30 years ahead of you. I don't know how old you are. I'm 28 years old. I'm still extremely fucking young in my life, but I have a tremendous amount of experience. And I at least have experience doing the biggest thing I've ever set myself to do. And, I may be a few steps ahead of some of you who are dealing with the challenges that I was dealing with and maybe didn't have the knowledge mentally to be able to overcome that. And hopefully, through my stories or just me being who it is that I am, it gives you an insight into yourself to help you solve that puzzle piece and help get you, you know, across that first mountain of yours. I like that. I like that a lot. So I hope you got tremendous amount of value from this. I do feel vulnerable sharing it, but I do feel very happy sharing it because it is so real and it's so honest. And I'm so excited to continue to share my heart on this channel with the intention of making an impact. And I hope that you are impacted by it. And if you are, I would love to hear about it in the comments, or you can email me, marcius@therealniggabible.com. I never get tired of hearing it. I never get tired of hearing it. I love going down the comment section and seeing all these like really positive comments on how my meditations are helping people out. That's awesome. Like that's why I do it. I do it because I want to help, because I want to help have you feel better. But only recently have I become very clear that it's about impact. That's my goal. How can I have the most impact? So at this point, I'm kind of looping, going in circles. I appreciate you tremendously, and I cannot believe, I absolutely cannot believe that that was 40 minutes. Wow, that is insane.